I watched my mother's mouth form the words, but my brain refused to process them. You're not really family, Claire? 5 words that shattered 27 years of existence. Around us, the wedding venue buzzed with laughter and champagne toasts, but in that moment, everything went silent. My sister Melissa's big day. The wedding I'd quietly funded with my entire savings, and I was being exiled to a table in the back corner, alone, while aunts and uncles I barely knew sat at the family table draped in ivory silk. Mom, what are you? Don't make a scene? Her diamond earrings, the ones I'd helped Dad pick out for their anniversary, caught the light as she turned away. You know how Melissa wants everything perfect. Perfect. The word tasted like acid. If you want the full truth, hit like so this story reaches more people. My name is Claire Morrison, and I'm about to tell you how one wedding speech destroyed my family's carefully constructed lies and exposed a betrayal so profound that it still makes my hands shake when I think about it. Let me take you back 6 months before that devastating moment. I was sitting in my cramped apartment staring at my laptop screen. My bank account showed $47,000. Every penny I'd saved working doubles as a surgical nurse for 3 years. It was supposed to be my down payment on a house, my escape from renting, my future. Then Melissa called. Claire, I need to talk to you about something. Her voice had that sugary quality she used when she wanted something. Daddy's business is struggling. The wedding venue needs the deposit by Friday or we lose it. My stomach dropped. How much? 15,000. I actually laughed. Melissa, you're the only one with savings. She cut me off. Mom said you'd help. You always help. That's what big sisters do. Big sister. I clung to those words like a lifeline. Despite everything, despite being the responsible one, the serious one, the one who worked while Melissa partied through college, those words mattered. I'll transfer it tomorrow, I heard myself say. You're the best, she squealed. Oh, and Claire, don't mention it to anyone. You know how Daddy gets about accepting help. That should have been my first warning. But the requests didn't stop. The caterer needed a deposit. The florist wanted payment upfront. The photographer required a retainer. Each time, Melissa's voice got a little more desperate, a little more pleading. Each time, I watched my savings evaporate. It's family, Mom said when I finally questioned the amounts. Family helps family. Or are you too selfish for that? Selfish. The word she'd used my entire life whenever I wanted anything for myself. So I gave, and gave, and gave. By the time the wedding day arrived, my account was down to $3,200. My house fund was gone, my future was postponed indefinitely. But I told myself it was worth it. I was investing in family, in love, in being the good daughter, the reliable sister. I had no idea I'd just paid for my own public humiliation. The morning of the wedding, I should have known something was wrong. I arrived at the bridal suite at the hotel, the suite I'd paid for, and found the door locked. I knocked 3 times before Melissa's maid of honor, her sorority sister Brittany, cracked it open. Oh, you're here. She didn't move. I'm the sister of the bride, I said, trying to keep my voice light. I thought I'd help Melissa get ready. Brittany glanced over her shoulder. She's kind of busy with the actual bridal party right now. Actual bridal party. The words hit like a slap. Can you just tell her I'm here? She sighed and disappeared. I heard giggling, then whispers, then nothing. 5 minutes passed. 10. I stood in that hallway like an idiot, holding the pearl bracelet I'd planned to give Melissa. Our grandmother's bracelet, the one Gran had given me before she died. Finally, Mom appeared. She was stunning in her champagne-colored mother-of-the-bride dress, her hair swept into an elegant updo. Claire, what are you doing lurking out here? I wanted to see Melissa before the ceremony. Mom's perfectly painted lips tightened. She's overwhelmed right now. Too many people. You understand? I didn't understand, but I nodded anyway. Why don't you go get ready? Mom continued. The ceremony starts in 2 hours. I am ready. I gestured to my navy blue dress, the one I'd bought off the clearance rack because I'd already spent everything on Melissa's dream wedding. Mom's eyes swept over me, and something flickered across her face. Disappointment? Embarrassment? That's what you're wearing. It's all I could afford after. I stopped myself. Don't mention the money. Family doesn't keep score. Comment exposed if you believe she deserved justice. Mom pursed her lips. Well, try to stay in the background during photos. That color doesn't really fit the aesthetic. She disappeared back into the suite, leaving me standing in the empty hallway, holding a dead woman's bracelet and wondering why I suddenly felt like crying. The ceremony itself was beautiful. Melissa looked like a princess in her custom gown, $8,000 paid by me. She walked down an aisle lined with roses, $30,500 paid by me. She exchanged vows under an arch dripping with orchids, $2,200 paid by me. I sat in the third row, not the second where immediate family belonged. Nobody questioned it. Nobody seemed to notice. When the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," everyone cheered. I clapped mechanically, watching my baby sister glow with happiness in the wedding I'd made possible, feeling more alone than I'd ever felt in my life. Then came the reception. The country club sparkled. Crystal chandeliers reflected off polished marble floors. Round tables draped in silk surrounded a dance floor that gleamed like glass. A string quartet played softly near the bar. It was elegant, expensive, and exactly what Melissa had always dreamed of. I walked in and immediately spotted the seating chart displayed on an ornate easel. That's when I saw it. Table 1, family. Mom, Dad, Melissa, her new husband Ryan, Ryan's parents, his siblings. Table 2, extended family. Aunts, uncles, cousins I'd met maybe twice. Tables 307, friends, college buddies, Ryan's co-workers. Table 8, way in the back corner, partially hidden by a pillar. Claire Morrison, alone. I stood there staring at that seating chart until the names blurred together. My hands were shaking so badly I had to clasp them behind my back. "Excuse me, miss?" A server appeared at my elbow. "You're blocking the entrance." I moved on autopilot, weaving through tables full of laughing guests, past the elaborate centerpieces I'd funded, toward my assigned exile in the back. The table was small, clearly meant for overflow guests. The centerpiece was noticeably simpler than the others. Even the tablecloth looked cheaper. I sat down and immediately realized I was positioned so that a decorative pillar blocked my view of the head table. I literally couldn't see my own sister. "Is anyone else sitting here?" I asked a passing server. She checked her tablet. "No, ma'am, just you at this one. Just me." At my sister's wedding, the sister whose entire celebration I'd funded, I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app, something I'd been avoiding for weeks. The numbers confirmed what I already knew. $3,200 left from my original $47,000. I'd spent $43,800 on this wedding, and I was sitting alone at the reject table. Type yes if you want to see all targets hit at once. I was spiraling into that thought when Dad approached. He looked uncomfortable in his tuxedo, tugging at his collar. "Claire, sweetheart." "Dad." I tried to smile. "Beautiful ceremony." "Yes, well." He cleared his throat. "Your mother mentioned you seemed upset about the seating arrangement." Hope flared in my chest. "I just thought—" "The family table was full, Claire. You understand. These things are complicated with in-laws and traditions. I'm not an in-law. I'm your daughter." His face did something strange. A muscle twitched in his jaw. "Of course you are. But Ryan's family has certain expectations about how these things are done. His parents wanted immediate family only at that table. So I'm not immediate family? Don't be difficult." His voice sharpened. "This isn't about you. It's Melissa's day. Can't you just be happy for your sister without making everything about yourself?" The words hit like physical blows. "I'm not making anything about myself. I'm just sitting at the table I was assigned." "Exactly." He nodded as if I'd proven his point. "So there's no problem. Enjoy the reception, Claire. The food should be excellent." He walked away before I could respond. I watched him return to the family table where everyone was laughing at something Ryan's father said. Mom threw her head back, her whole face bright with joy. Melissa was radiant, her hand tucked into Ryan's. They looked like a magazine spread. The perfect family at the perfect wedding. And I was the defect cropped out of the photo. I don't know how long I sat there alone, watching servers set up the buffet stations, listening to the ambient chatter of 300 guests who all seemed to know each other. I recognized maybe 40 people in the room. Most of them hadn't even acknowledged me. Then the DJ's voice boomed through the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention, please. It's time for our best man speech. Everyone, please welcome Marcus Chen. The room erupted in applause. I barely registered it. I was too busy trying to figure out how to slip out without anyone noticing I'd left. Marcus Chen was Ryan's college roommate, a confident guy in his late 20s, with the easy charm of someone who'd never struggled for anything. He bounded up to the microphone holding a champagne flute and a stack of note cards. Wow, what a turnout! He grinned as the crowd settled. First, I want to say how honored I am to stand here as Ryan's best man. We've been through a lot together. College, backpacking through Europe, that incident in Vegas we're not supposed to talk about. Laughter rippled through the crowd. I wasn't listening. I was calculating how much the open bar was costing. Probably $4,000 for the premium package Melissa had insisted on. But seriously, Marcus continued, I've never seen Ryan happier than he's been with Melissa. She's beautiful, smart, funny, and she somehow tolerates his terrible taste in music. More laughter. Melissa beamed. Now, planning a wedding like this isn't easy, and I want to take a moment to acknowledge all the people who made this incredible day possible. Marcus consulted his cards. First, a huge thank you to the parents of the bride, Eleanor and David Morrison, for their love and support. Applause. Mom and Dad waved graciously. And to the parents of the groom, Linda and James Chen. More applause. But there's one person Ryan specifically asked me to mention. Someone who went above and beyond to make today happen. Someone whose generosity made this entire celebration possible. My stomach dropped. No. He wouldn't. Ryan wanted me to publicly thank Claire Morrison, Melissa's sister, who paid for this entire wedding. The room went silent. I stopped breathing. And I mean everything, Marcus continued, clearly not reading the room. The venue, the catering, the flowers, the photographer, Melissa's dress, the rings, all of it. Claire paid for every single element of this wedding out of her own savings. 300 pairs of eyes turned to find me in the back corner. I wanted to disappear, to evaporate, to cease existing. Share this video so communities understand what was hiding. Claire apparently insisted on staying anonymous, Marcus went on, consulting his cards. But Ryan felt strongly that she should be recognized for such an incredible sacrifice. So let's all give Claire a huge round of applause. The room erupted. People were clapping, some were standing, others were turning fully around to stare at me. I could see the math clicking in their faces, the shock, the questions forming. I looked at the head table. Melissa's face had gone white. Her mouth hung open in horror. Mom looked like she'd been slapped. Dad wouldn't meet my eyes. But Ryan was beaming, raising his champagne glass toward me. Claire, stand up, take a bow. No. I whispered to no one. No, no, no. Claire! People were chanting now. Claire! Claire! Marcus was still talking. Ryan told me Claire spent nearly $50,000, her entire savings that she'd been putting away for years to buy a house. Instead, she gave it all to make sure her sister had the wedding of her dreams. That's the kind of selfless love we should all aspire to. The applause was deafening now. People were actually cheering. I stood up. Not to take a bow, but to run. But before I could move, a voice cut through the noise. Wait. Mom was on her feet, her face flushed red. There's been a mistake. The room fell silent again. Mom's voice had that sharp edge that used to make me hide in my room as a child. Marcus lowered the microphone, confused. A mistake? He repeated. Yes. Mom's perfectly applied makeup couldn't hide the rage in her eyes. I don't know where Ryan got his information, but Claire didn't pay for this wedding. The lie was so blatant, so immediate, that I actually gasped. Mom, Melissa started. We paid for this wedding. Mom continued, her voice rising. David and I. Claire may have contributed a small gift, but suggesting she funded the entire event is absolutely ridiculous and frankly insulting. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. People were looking between Mom and me, trying to figure out who was lying. I found my voice. I have the bank statements. Mom's head whipped toward me. What did you say? I have the bank statements. I repeated louder this time. Every single transaction, the venue deposit on March 15th, the caterer payment on April 2nd, the florist, the photographer, the... Claire, stop it. Dad was standing now, too. You're embarrassing yourself. I'm embarrassing myself? My voice cracked. I spent $43,800 on this wedding. Every penny I'd saved for 3 years. And you put me at a table by myself in the back corner because I'm not really family. The room exploded. People started talking over each other. Someone gasped. I heard $50,000 and her entire savings repeated in shocked whispers. Melissa burst into tears. You're ruining my wedding, she screamed at me. This was supposed to be my day and you're making it about you. I didn't do this, I shouted back. Ryan did. I never wanted anyone to know. Then why did you tell Ryan? Mom's voice was venomous. I didn't. All eyes turned to Ryan, who'd been sitting silently at the head table. He stood up slowly, and when he spoke, his voice was quiet but clear. I found out 3 days ago, by accident. If this shocked you, comment betrayed below. What? Melissa turned to him. I needed Melissa's birth certificate for the marriage license, Ryan explained. It was in your filing cabinet at your parents' house, Melissa. While I was looking for it, I found bank statements in a folder labeled wedding. They were all in Claire's name. Tens of thousands of dollars in payments to vendors I thought your parents had paid. You went through my filing cabinet? Melissa's tears had stopped. Now she just looked angry. I was looking for what you told me to find. Ryan's voice rose. And what I found was that your sister paid for our entire wedding while you told me your parents were covering it. Because it's none of your business who paid. It is my business. Claire gave up everything. She wanted to, Melissa shrieked. Nobody forced her. The room had gone from shocked silence to barely contained chaos. People were pulling out phones. An aunt near the front looked like she was recording. Dad stepped forward, trying to take control. Everyone, please. This is a family matter. We can discuss it privately. No. The word came from Aunt Jennifer, Mom's older sister from table 2. She stood up, her face hard. No, we're going to discuss this right now, because I want to know what the hell is going on. Aunt Jennifer's voice cut through the chaos like a knife. She'd always been the family truth-teller, the one person Mom couldn't intimidate. I'd barely spoken to her in years. Mom had made sure of that, citing some old argument I'd never fully understood. Jennifer, sit down, Mom hissed. This isn't your concern. The hell it isn't. Aunt Jennifer walked toward the head table, her heels clicking against the marble floor. Did Claire really pay for this entire wedding? That's a family matter, Dad started. She is family. Aunt Jennifer spun to face him. So answer the question, David. Did your daughter spend $50,000 on this wedding? The silence stretched. Finally, Dad nodded once, tersely. The room erupted again. I heard shocked exclamations, angry mutters, someone saying, "That's insane." And you knew about this? Aunt Jennifer directed the question at both my parents. Mom lifted her chin. Claire wanted to help her sister. It was her choice. Her choice, Aunt Jennifer repeated slowly. And did she also choose to sit alone at a table in the back corner? Did she choose not to be in the family photos? Did she choose to be excluded from the bridal suite this morning? How did you? Mom's face flushed deeper. Because I have eyes, Eleanor. I watched you deliberately place Claire as far from this family as possible. I thought it was strange then. Now I think it's monstrous. You have no right? I have every right. Aunt Jennifer's voice boomed. I want to know why Claire paid for this wedding. The real reason. She wanted to help, Melissa said weakly. She's my sister. Bullshit. Aunt Jennifer's language made several people gasp. She turned to me. Claire, sweetie, did you offer to pay for this wedding? Or were you asked? My throat was so tight I could barely speak. I was asked. By who? Melissa. She said Dad's business was struggling, that they needed help with the deposit or they'd lose the venue. Aunt Jennifer's gaze snapped to Dad. Your business is struggling? Dad's face went scarlet. That's not... It's complicated. Your car dealership just opened a second location. Aunt Jennifer was incredulous. I saw the article in the paper. You're doing better than ever. The murmurs in the crowd grew louder. I saw people pulling out phones, probably Googling Dad's business. This was a miscommunication. Mom tried again. Claire misunderstood. I misunderstood 15 separate payment requests. My voice was stronger now. I misunderstood when Melissa called crying about the caterer, or when you, Mom, told me I was being selfish if I didn't help with the photographer. I never said that. Yes, you did. The words exploded out of me. You've been calling me selfish my entire life. Whenever I wanted anything for myself, whenever I didn't immediately give Melissa whatever she wanted, I was selfish. So when she needed money for her dream wedding, what choice did I have? Comment enough if you believe she deserved justice. You always had a choice, Mom said coldly. Nobody held a gun to your head. You held something worse. My voice dropped. You held your love, your approval, your acceptance as your daughter. And you made it very clear. I only got those things if I stayed in my place, if I kept giving, if I kept sacrificing, if I stayed invisible. The words hung in the air. Then Aunt Jennifer spoke again, and her voice was ice. Eleanor, is Claire even your biological daughter? Time stopped. The question hung in the air like smoke, and suddenly everything made horrible, perfect sense. The way Mom looked at me differently than Melissa. The way I was always the responsible one, while Melissa was the baby. The way Dad wouldn't meet my eyes. The separate table. The exile. The lifetime of feeling like I never quite belonged. Jennifer, that is enough, Mom said, but her voice shook. Answer the question, Aunt Jennifer pressed. Because I've wondered for 27 years why Claire looks nothing like either of you, why you treat her like a servant instead of a daughter, and why... She paused, her voice breaking slightly. Why she looks exactly like my sister Catherine. The room went completely silent. Your sister Catherine, Aunt Jennifer continued, who died in a car accident when Claire was 6 months old. Catherine, who was unmarried. Catherine, whose baby disappeared into a nice family according to you, Eleanor. My legs gave out. I grabbed the edge of my table to stay upright. No, I whispered. No, that's not... We adopted you. Mom's voice was flat, emotionless. Catherine was my youngest sister. She got pregnant by some nobody who didn't want anything to do with the baby. She begged us to take you. We did. We raised you as our own. We gave you our name, our home, everything. And never told her? Aunt Jennifer's voice rose. You never told Claire she was adopted? We thought it was better. Better? You used that child. You took her in, made her feel like she owed you everything, and then exploited her guilt and desperation to belong for 27 years. That's not true. Mom's composure was cracking. We loved Claire. We raised her. At arm's length, Aunt Jennifer cut in. You've been punishing her for existing since the day Catherine died, because every time you look at Claire, you see your sister. The sister who embarrassed the family by getting pregnant. The sister who wasn't perfect like you. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The room was spinning. Melissa was sobbing openly now, her perfect makeup running in black streams. Ryan had his arm around her, but he was staring at my parents with undisguised disgust. Is it true? I heard my voice as if from very far away. Did you adopt me from your sister? Mom wouldn't look at me. Dad's face was in his hands. Answer her, Aunt Jennifer demanded. Yes, Mom finally said. Yes, we adopted you. And we expected gratitude, not this public humiliation. Gratitude? The word came out as a laugh, high and broken. You wanted gratitude for raising me as your own, while making sure I always knew I wasn't really part of the family? For letting me call you mom while treating me like hired help? For watching me give away everything I had for a sister who got to be really family, while I got to sit in the back corner alone? We gave you a home. You gave me an obligation. I was screaming now, tears streaming down my face. You gave me a lifetime of feeling like I had to earn love that should have been unconditional. Every good grade, every sacrifice, every time I chose your needs over mine, I was trying to prove I deserved to exist in this family. And you knew. I turned to Melissa, who shrank back. You knew I was adopted? Not until I was 16, she said through her tears. I overheard Mom and Dad talking. They made me promise not to tell you. And you didn't. It wasn't a question. For 11 years, you knew the truth. And you watched me kill myself trying to be good enough, worthy enough. And you didn't say a word. I didn't know how to tell you, but you knew how to ask me for $50,000. My voice echoed off the vaulted ceiling. You knew how to call me crying, how to manipulate me, how to drain every penny I'd saved. Did you even need the money, Melissa? Was Dad's business ever struggling? Silence. Answer me. No, she whispered. Dad's business is fine. But the wedding I wanted was so expensive, and you had all that money saved, and Mom said... She broke off, looking at our mother. Mom said what? I pressed. Melissa's voice was barely audible. She said you owed us, for taking you in, for raising you. She said it was the least you could do after everything we'd given you. The words detonated like a bomb. People were standing now, some heading for the exits, others openly staring at my parents with horror. I saw Ryan's mother cover her mouth. Several of Mom's friends looked disgusted. You told her that? Aunt Jennifer's voice was pure venom. You told your daughter that Claire owed you for being born? I told her the truth. Mom's mask finally shattered completely. We took in Catherine's mistake. We gave Claire every opportunity. The least she could do was help her sister, her real sister, have the wedding she deserved. Real sister, I repeated numbly. That's what you said at the seating chart, wasn't it? When you told me I wasn't really family, you weren't being cruel in the moment. You were stating what you've always believed. Mom said nothing. Claire. Ryan's voice made me jump. He'd left the head table and was walking toward me. I am so sorry, I had no idea. If I'd known... He shook his head. I thought you'd volunteered. That it was a gift. Melissa told me you wanted to do this. I did, I said bitterly. Because I've spent my entire life wanting to be part of this family, wanting to be enough, wanting to matter. You matter. Ryan's eyes were wet. And I swear to you, I'm paying you back. Every penny. I'll get a loan. I'll... Keep your money. I looked at Melissa. Consider it a gift. A thank you gift for 27 years of teaching me that blood is all that matters. That no matter what I do, how hard I try, how much I sacrifice, I'll never be really family to the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally. Hit like and comment justice if you think she deserved better. Claire. Melissa reached toward me. I stepped back. Don't. Just don't. I turned to leave, but Aunt Jennifer caught my arm. Wait. There's something else you need to know. What? I was exhausted, destroyed, empty. What else could there possibly be? She pulled out her phone, found something, and held it out to me. Your mother, Catherine, left you something. An inheritance. She had life insurance, a small trust fund. I've been managing it for 27 years, waiting until you knew the truth. My hands were shaking as I took the phone. The screen showed a bank account statement. The account holder name was Catherine Ann Morrison Trust for Claire Morrison. The balance made my vision blur. $427,000. What? I couldn't form words. Your mother worked as a software engineer, Aunt Jennifer explained quietly. She was brilliant. Before she died, she set up a trust for you. Her life insurance, her savings, her stock options from the tech company she worked for. It's all been growing for 27 years. With compound interest and the stock market gains, it's grown substantially. I stared at the number. $427,000. She left me money? She left you more than money. Aunt Jennifer's voice was gentle. She left you letters, videos, everything she wanted you to know about her. About your father. Yes, she documented who he was, about why she made the choices she made. It's all in a safety deposit box at First National Bank. Why didn't you tell me? The words came out broken. The trust specified you couldn't access it until you either turned 30 or learned the truth about your adoption, whichever came first. Aunt Jennifer glared at my parents. No, at Eleanor and David. They weren't my parents. They never had been. Catherine was smart. She suspected Eleanor might never tell you. She wanted to protect you. The trust can only be released to you directly, and Eleanor has no legal access to it. I turned to Eleanor and David. You knew about this? The whole time? Eleanor's face was stony. Catherine's money was Catherine's business. That's why you never told me, I realized. You knew I had an inheritance I couldn't access. If I ever found out the truth, I'd get the money and stop being your reliable piggy bank. That's not... How much did I give you over the years? I cut her off. Not just the wedding. Every time Melissa needed money for sorority dues, or a new car, or spring break trips, or rent. Every time you guilted me into helping. Add it up, Eleanor. How much of my money did you take? She pressed her lips together and said nothing. I tracked it, Ryan said quietly. Everyone turned to look at him. He pulled out his phone. After I found the wedding receipts, I got curious. I asked Melissa about other times Claire had helped financially. She told me. I made a list. He held up his phone. $73,000. Over 9 years. College expenses, car repairs, emergency loans that were never repaid. Claire has given your family $73,000 since she started working as a nurse. The number hit me like a physical blow. 73,000, plus the 43,000 for the wedding. I'd given them $116,000. And you were never going to pay me back, I said. Any of it. You were going to keep taking until there was nothing left. You offered... Eleanor started. Because you made me believe I owed you, I screamed. Because you convinced me that being part of this family required payment. That love had a price tag and I could never quite pay enough. The room was completely silent except for Melissa's crying. Then Aunt Jennifer spoke again. Claire, there's one more thing. Your birth father. Catherine documented his name and last known contact information. He's alive. And he's been looking for you for 27 years. The world tilted. My father? Catherine never told him she was pregnant. She found out after they'd broken up. He'd moved across the country for a job. By the time she realized she was expecting, he was gone. But she documented everything. His name, his information, his contact details as of when she died. He never knew about you. And you know where he is? I hired a private investigator 5 years ago. Aunt Jennifer's smile was sad. I've been keeping tabs on him, hoping I'd get the chance to tell you someday. He lives in Seattle. He's an architect, never married, no other children, and... She paused. Every year on what would have been Catherine's birthday, he posts about her on social media, about the woman he loved and lost, about wishing he'd had one more chance to tell her how much she meant to him. I couldn't process it. My birth mother had left me money, letters, videos. My birth father was alive, had loved my mother, had been searching for information about her for decades. There was a whole other life I could have had. A whole other family who might have actually wanted me. Claire, I want you to understand something. Aunt Jennifer took both my hands. Catherine loved you. She wanted you desperately. She died because a drunk driver ran a red light while she was driving to the store to buy you diapers. She would be devastated to know that Eleanor used you like this. I pulled my hands away gently. I need to leave. Claire, wait. Melissa stood up. No. I backed toward the door. 300 people watched me go. I'm done waiting. Done hoping. Done sacrificing. You got your perfect wedding, Melissa. Enjoy it. It only cost me everything. Please. She sobbed. The money from the trust. I said to Aunt Jennifer. How do I access it? I'll have the paperwork ready by Monday. And Claire? She pulled me into a hug. I'm so sorry. I should have fought harder to tell you the truth. I should have. It's not your fault. I hugged her back briefly, then pulled away. But I need to go now. I walked out of the country club with my head high. Behind me, I heard Melissa wailing, heard Eleanor shouting something, heard the murmur of 300 guests discussing the Morrison family implosion. I didn't care. I drove home to my tiny apartment, sat on my cheap IKEA couch, and opened my banking app one more time. $3,200. That's what I had left. But in a week, I'd have $427,000, plus the truth about my mother, plus a potential relationship with my father, plus the absolute certainty that I owed the Morrison family nothing. Tell me, would you reconnect with the birth father or start completely fresh? I never went back. Melissa called 47 times that night. Eleanor sent text messages ranging from apologetic to threatening to pathetic. I blocked them all. And 3 months later, I met my father for the first time. But that's another story.